How do you recognize a good option versus a mix-up? Can you not know until thought that was a good option? I mean, there's some level of theory that you could just figure out for yourself, right? Like, you know what options other characters have. You know what options people like to pick in the current meta, so you can figure it out for yourself. It's not the most straightforward thing, but you can definitely figure it out without testing it. But you still aren't going to get an intuitive sense. Like, there's a difference between understanding something in theory and understanding something in practice, because in practice, it's like your intuition has to be able to pick up on it in real
Yep.
time. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to figure it out, because you can't actually calculate all of it in real time. It's just too much shit.
Yep.
And anyone who says they can, can't. They're lying. But so your intuition has to play a large role in it.
Yeah. Yeah, Melee is definitely a game about trusting your intuition to
Yeah.
a T. Like
Yeah.
you have to trust what you've practiced. Yeah.
I just want people to get better. That's all I want at this game. I want people to get better. I want to compete against them. And when I'm the best in the world, I want it to be over a bunch of good players.
That's what I think is your biggest strength, Cody, is I don't like you can see the game very like honestly in the sense that like you don't see it in a vacuum or you don't see like how perfect these like micro situations could be won. Like you see it as like you see the whole game, I guess, as a whole, if that makes sense. Like
I just try not to focus on
like,
any
you
one
see
thing.
the whole experience, yeah. Like you don't try to like, oh, I'm gonna like make sure that like this specific shine follow up I hit it like every time. It's like, no, I'm gonna like learn how to beat these players and like, cause like that's pretty like important. And I'm gonna learn like how these mix-ups work, like as a whole. I'm gonna learn like how someone like reacts to like my options. Like I feel like you dip into every single part, you know.
Is that it's usually so micro-based. I don't do micro-based analysis vids almost ever. I actually really think that people focus way too much on micro and melee. And I think it's overall like pretty stupid to do. I actually really don't like how much micro focus there is. I don't know if it's like hacks induced. I don't know where it started from. But it's like there are situations that I will break down because I think they're really important and there's a lot to take from them. But as a whole, like I'd much rather look at a broader picture than like one specific micro interaction. I don't like the crazy focus on micro.
I feel like it's good when you're trying to understand like the mix-ups in a situation. And,
Yeah.
Like, what potentially could be done, but like when you're trying to solve from that point, it can get like you can only like focus on just like improving that little situation instead of trying to make your whole play better, or like realizing kind of like what's going on, you know.
People just base their entire play on it. It's like, dude, like you're just not even studying like 80% of the game then. Like most of the game happens on a macro level, not on a micro level. That's why. Like it all.
I think it's that. Oh, sorry.
No. Go on. It's just like, yeah.
I was gonna say it like I'm just thinking about it and like I think there's always just been that stigma of just like Melee's so micro. There's all these little situations and like that's always been like the stigma. Everybody talks about like what makes Melee like hard and like amazing. It's like, oh, there's all these micro situations you have to think about.
Yeah.
It's like everybody wants to optimize the micro like going into it, you know.
Yeah, and that's helpful. I think way more in Punish game than it is in neutral. Like it's like Zelda commentary. Yeah, it is, and it's really bad. I don't like microanalysis at all. I really only use it for Punish game and very specific neutral interactions that someone is repeatedly losing and doesn't understand why. If I see something in neutral that happens over and over again, it's like, okay, we got to focus on like what's going on here. But outside of that, I try to give people much more general things because also I don't believe there are like just objective micro solutions. There's a bunch of things that you could do, and I'd rather give someone an understanding of what's actually happening, and they can figure out how they want to solve it themselves. I'm not going to tell them what options to choose or how to play.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I think that also just, like, hinders, like, for me, that has always hindered my play when someone's tried to control how I want to, like, perceive the game, and, like, say, no, these options aren't good, you have to do these specific options.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, it fits with their, like, worldview on the game,
Mm-hmm.
or it's, like, it's, like, the most correct in a sense.
Yeah.
So I like that you're, like, putting that into it, and, like, trying to make people solve their own, like making them aware of what's happening and then helping them pick the options that they would like to pick, you know.
Yeah.
And improving off of that, which I think is really good because I feel like the more you try to remove yourself from the game, like I feel like the worse you kind of become.
Yeah, there's a very personal
You're
element
never
to
trusting like your intuition and stuff, you know.
Yeah. No, it's very like it's very. This is a very personal game. It's like there's a million ways that I could solve most of the situations that I'm in. I just choose to do it in like I like risk reward analysis. That's
Yeah.
I'm sure anyone who like really in depth studies me can figure that out. I really like risk reward analysis. That's how I base a lot of my game. And that's why a lot of my analysis, when I'll tell people, it's like, listen, I don't like this back air. Why don't I like this back air? Best case scenario, you get damage. Worst case scenario, which is likely, you get CC shot by Falco, and you're dead. Why would you do that then? You can still do a back air. It doesn't mean you don't do a back air, but not in a situation that causes like a skirmish. That's like kind of how I'd rather look at it. And I'm not going to tell them, this back air is bad. You should space your back air slightly outside and do this. I'm like, no. Just don't initiate a scuffle because it's just not in your favor when you do it with a move that doesn't get a big knockdown. And that's it. What drives your love for melee? Bro, have you ever played like high-level melee against other people? It's like the best experience you could ever... It's the best thing you could ever experience in your life. I'm not even joking. I've never had as high dopamine levels or just like general enjoyment of anything as when I just get to play like Zane or Mango and have crazy sessions. I think everyone can learn the game at their own speed. I don't think it matters if you focus on punish or neutral first. I think you should learn the game in the way that's most intuitive to you. I used to say punish, but Fiction actually talked me out of it, and I'm happy he did. The only thing I will say is you work on movement first. Before anything else, you work on movement. The rest is bracing that. Yeah, no, I feel that, Josh. Like, quote-unquote talent is just, there are certain things that come easy. Like, to me, punish game came naturally to me. And that's just what came naturally to me. I had to work my ass off to get the neutral game up. Like, my neutral was dog for 4.5 years. It took a lot of effort to get that up to a point where I feel like I can actually play neutral with, like, Mango and Zane and Leffen. Punish so unintuitive for me. It's so intuitive to me. I live for the hit. When I hit someone in melee and I get that opening on them, oh, it feels so good. Nothing in the game feels better to me than that. As I'm sure anyone who plays me a lot can tell you.
True.